Hi everybody, my name is Rupa, working as Assistant Professor in Chevron Engineering College in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I'm dealing the subject renewable energy sources, and today's topic in that is the Savien's rotor. Let us now go through it. So this is the simplest and it is the modern type of wind energy conversion system what we are using until now. This works as a cup anemometer. Already we have discussed what is cup anemometer and what are the disadvantages and advantages of the cup anemometer. And this also, the modifications of the cup anemometer is is developed as a Savianus rotor. It is invented by S.J. Savianus in the year 1920. This is becoming popular because it is having working operations with low velocity winds also. So it can operate at low velocity winds also. That's why it became more popular with this only advantage. It mainly consists of two half cylinders which are facing opposite in directions in such a way that they have almost S-shaped cross sections. So if you see in the figure, you can observe that they are having two half cylinders like. So a cylinder is cut into half and it is having like that two half cylinders. These are facing opposite to them. Okay, so this forms a cylindrical like that. So these are formed to such a shape that they are opposite in direction and kept in such a shape that they forms S like shape, S alphabet like shape cross sections. Okay, so these two semicircular drums, these are mounted on the vertical axis perpendicular. It is not horizontal about, it is vertical axis perpendicular to the wind directions, and there is a gap at the axis between the two drums also. So whatever the wind direction it is there, whatever the wind direction it rotates, either in one direction or other directions, the rotor rotates with the wind directions. Okay, and this rotor rotates in such a direction to make the convex sides of the bucket's head into the wind. Okay, so it makes the bucket sides into the wind. So from the rotor shaft we can take power for using like for applications like water pumping, battery charging, grain winnowing, etc. For these applications we can use. Okay, so if you have two edges together to make a S shape, they will overlap. Okay, so instead of this, they will not get overlapped. Okay, so if you keep these two edges like this in cross section, they will not get overlap. But to overlap, for overlapping, we are leaving a wide space between the two inner edges. So that we are leaving this white space so that each designs, these edges, the edges of the designs are nearer to the central axis of the opposite half cylinder. So we can see this in the figure. These are overlapped. If you keep in S shape like cross section, they are not overlapped. For overlapping purposes, we are keeping them at a wide spaces, at a some spaces distance, so that there will be a distance between the two edges and they will be nearer to the central axis of the opposite half cylinder. The main action of the wind is very simple here. The force of wind which is coming onto the S-shaped, it is greater than on the cupped surface. Okay, so this wind will be greater on the cupped surfaces, on the round faces of the object. Okay, so this is the curving of the winds. This B is the curving of the winds. This wind curving around the back side of the cupped surface, around the back side of the this is the back side, this is the back side for this cup surface. The wind that is curving around the back side of the cupped surface, it exerts a reduced pressure as much as the wind does over on the top of the airfoils. And this opposing direction, or this reducing the pressure directions, this will help to drive the rotations. The wind slot which is between the two inner edges, of the half cylinders, it lets the air whip around inside moving forward and backward in the cup surfaces. So this will be pushing both in the direction of the rotation, either in opposite direction or the same direction. They will be pushing action of the wind blades. So the ratio of height to overall diameter, that is nothing but aspect ratio. It is called overall diameter. So this ratio of height to the aspect ratio or overall diameter of the machine, it can be varied. Okay, the value is generally less than 3 to 1. From 3 to 1 it will be varying. The power coefficient of S rotor, it is low, but this can be improved by changing the design numbers and the arrangement of the vanes. Also we can improve the power coefficient. Okay, these matters, what are the disadvantages in this has to be further researched in the modern days. Now we will see the characteristics of Savion's rotor. What are the characteristics? It is having three types of characteristics. First one is self-starting, and second one is low speed. It is self-starting. Second one is low speed. No need of self-starting means no need of any other equipment for starting purposes. But in horizontal axis, these are not self-starting. We have to make them self-starting by using some external equipments. And low speed, very low speed and low efficiency. It is also having low power coefficient and low efficiencies. We can improve by changing the designs and number of vanes, and the directions of the vanes we kept also. If you go on researching, we can improve this disadvantage and we can get high efficiencies. Okay, now we will see the advantages of Savion's rotor. Advantages and disadvantages of Savion's rotor. So coming to the first advantages of Savion's rotor, it has this it eliminates expensive power transmission system. That means this Savion's wind energy conversion system, it has a vertical axis. This vertical axis will be eliminating the expensive power transmission system from the rotor to the axis. Okay, so as it is a vertical axis machine, it does not matters much about the wind directions. So this machine performs at even low velocity wind ranges also. This is a major advantage of the Savion's rotors. Second one, it has a low cut-in speed. Okay, has low cut-in speed. Cut-in speed means it is the minimum speed required for the wind turbine to rotate, and cut-out speed is the maximum speed with which the wind turbine will be rotating. So it has its low cut-in speed, means at low velocity winds also it can manage to operate. Okay, so it has low cut-in speed means the wind speed required for the switching electric power into the line is low. So it produces power effectively in wind as low as, what is the minimum wind speed means 8 kilometers per hour. So this is the minimum cut-in speed that is required for the machine to operate. So this is also the used for most propeller type windmills. Okay, so actually propeller type windmills or machines requiring about 16 kilometers per hour are used for effective operation. Okay, so actually at this speed 16 kilometers per hour, it is the most propeller type speed for effective operation. And but this Savion's rotor can also be operated at 8 kilometers per hour for effective operations. Okay, so this point is very useful more of the time, and it is less dependent on the storage of supplementary power also. Okay, and third one, level gears are eliminated. Okay, so actually in common with all the vertical axis machines, the Savion's rotor, this has an advantage that weight of the electric generator is carried out out at ground level only. Okay, so if you carry it out at ground level, there is no use of level gears. Okay. Next, this is not a very important advantage. And fourth one is the cost is lower. Okay, so the cost of the vertical axis wind turbine is significantly lower than that of the standard wind turbines. And fifth one is it is having simple structure. So if it is having simple structure, we can manufacture it easily. Simple structure. Next, sixth one is yaw and pitch controls are not needed. Okay, so this is the major disadvantage. Yaw and pitch controls, these are not needed to bring the wind turbine into wind or operating in high speeds. So at the time of operating in high speeds, we have to control this yaw and pitch. So we have to separately have the equipment of these controls, yaw and pitch controls, but it is not the case in this. This is not a tracking device. With the wind speeds at very low speeds also it can operate, so we are not requiring any yaw and pitch controls. So at constant speed, vertical axis wind turbine automatically stalls at high wind speeds. Okay, next one, seventh one is ground level mounting for generator and gearing system permits easy access. This is we are taking this at ground level only, not using a tower, and we are taking this. So at ground level mounting means at down only we can monitor this system. So this can be mounted at ground levels also. So for generator and gearing, it permits easy access and maintenance, which reduces the tower cost. Okay, so as we discussed, the eighth point is that one only. This reduces the tower cost. No need of tower cost. We are monitoring and we are keeping the gearing equipment at ground level also. So tower cost will be reduced. And last, ninth one, the overall weight of the turbine is less than the conventional system. Okay, so this is overall weight of the turbine is less than the conventional system because of small amount of material involved in this system to swept the area, which translates to lower costs. Okay, if the material used in this is the material used for the same swept area is lower here, means the cost of the material is lower here. Okay, and if you put aside these advantages, it is having some disadvantages also. We will go through it. Disadvantages are two types of disadvantages is there. This is too solid and having so much material. Okay, so this type of machine, it is too solid and having so much metal or other material surface when compared with the amount of wind intercepted. Okay, so in comparison with the horizontal axis, it is having so much material. Okay, so this is one of the disadvantage of using high amounts of material. This is not only leads to the excessive weight of a large installation, but this is having other adverse condition. What is that? Means it leaves the machine of the mercy of severe storms, since there is no way to reduce the affected areas. So at the time of storms, it will be getting more affected of using such a materials. Okay, so this is not used for tall installations, because if you use this at very tall installations, long drive shaft problems will be occurring, and also the bracing of the topmost bearing above the rotor of the vertical axis machine. It is awkward and it requires very long wires, long guy wires. Okay, so in suppose if you take in conventional horizontal axis wind electrical machines with a generator aloft, the strength of the structure required to carry the additional weight of the generator is very small. The strength required is very small here in the horizontal machine when compared to the vertical. Okay, so this will be severe if you take this condition. It will be severe at it will be worse at severe storms. Next topic is areas of concern. So this Savionus rotor, it has moderately good efficiency and it is having a satisfactory starting characteristics. Okay, so no losses, no torque at the start, at the time of starting. We can go on with satisfactory character. Okay, so after starting characteristics, the later it is being particularly important for use with a positive displacement pumps. Okay, so if you use this type of positive displacement pumps, it is not that much satisfactory as we observed in the starting characteristics. So the rotor here the rotor area requirement for getting the required amount of power, it is very high when compared to the other systems. So these are commonly used for pumping and to operate small agriculture machines like winnowers, blowers, bird scarers, grinders, etc. These are the commonly used small agriculture machines. So the other use of this type of wind energy conversion system is to use this machine along with Darrier's rotors for starting purposes. Okay, we will see the what is the Darrier's rotor and what is this Darrier's type of machine in the next section. So this is Darrier's type machine. This is nothing but high velocity machine. Until now we saw this Savionus rotor. This is a low velocity wind machine, but coming to this Darrier's type machine, this is a high velocity wind machine. This machine was invented originally and it is patented in 1925 by G.J.M. Darriers. He is a French engineer and his concept has recently been given since serious considerations. Once again, they have been observing this system. If you take in India, our country, at Bell, Hyderabad and at NAL Bangalore, research and development of Darrier's wind energy conversion systems are going on, are in process in present. Bell in Hyderabad and NAL in Bangalore. Okay, so this type of windmills, these are already used in Canada. Okay, so this if you note this point, a modern rapidly rotating propeller type windmill, if you use this windmill with efficient airfoil, it effectively intercepts large area of wind with a small blade area. Okay, so for this sweeping a large area with a small blade area, we have to equip it has to be equipped with efficient airfoil. So the Darrier's windmill, it is a type of vertical axis machine that has the same advantages of this vertical axis machines only. But in additional, we are having only one advantage, that it supports its blade. Okay, so it supports its blade in a way which minimize the bending stress in normal operations. Okay, so this is the only advantage other than the vertical axis type machine. What is the advantage means? It supports its blade. Okay, small blades we are using only here. So it will give support to minimize the bending stresses while rotating. While in normal operation, this minimizes the bending stresses. Okay, so it is having 2 or 3 thin curved blades with airfoil cross section, and these are having constant chord length. Okay, so I will show you in the figures, in next figures. See, these are curved at a shape of egg beater. Egg beater shape, these are curved. Okay, so these are having only 2 or 3 thin cover blades with airfoil cross section, and it is having chord length of equal chord lengths. These both ends of the blades, these are attached to a vertical shaft. Okay, this is the vertical shaft. So both ends of the blades are attached to the vertical shaft. Okay, so if you attach like this, the force in the blade due to rotation is pure tension. Okay, here only it will be tension, and it is somewhat reducing the stress on the blade. So this type of attachment also provides a stiffness to help to withstand the wind forces it is experiencing. So these blades can be that much lighter when compared to the propeller types. So if you take this much thin blades, we have to have a doubt that what will be happening to these blades if at all these are if at all a storm occurs, because we are taking 2 or 3 blades of thin structures. Okay, so of this design, if a severe storm will be occurring, what will happen, we can get a question, but this can be depending upon the storm, and this can be unanswered. Okay, so there might be a damage or might not be, we cannot answer. So when rotating these airfoil blades, they provide a torque above the central shaft. They provide a torque above the central shaft in response to the wind stream. So this shaft torque, it is being transmitted to the generator at the base of the central shaft. Okay, here the generator is located, and this shaft torque, it is this is the shaft torque, this is transmitted to the generator. Here from shaft, the torque is transmitted to the generator through the base of the central shaft. This is used for power generations. Okay, so this Darier type rotors, these are lift devices. Okay, so we are having 2 types of devices, we know, lift and drag. So these are lift devices, and these are having characteristics by curved blades with airfoil cross sections. Okay, so these have very relatively low solidity, and these are having high starting torques, but these are having also high tip to wind speeds. Okay, so due to this, a relatively high power outputs per given rotor weight and constant we can obtain. So various types of Darius rotor configurations have been conceived. So these are the various types of Darius rotor configurations. First one is Phi Darriers, delta Darriers, second one. Third one is Y Darriers. And fourth one is square Darriers. Okay, so these are the four types of configurations of rotor. These can be designed to operate with one or two or three more blades. Okay, one or two or three or even more we can operate. So this is also combined with various types of auxiliary rotors. These increase their starting torques. Okay, so if you combine with various types of auxiliary rotors discussed before, so if you combine this Darrius type, we can get more starting torques. But if you combine this, the weight will be increasing and the cost will be increasing and the system becomes complex. We have to go through them also, and we have to we have a keen observation on this, and we have to combine this type of rotor configurations with the other ones. Now we will see the characteristics of Darrius rotor. So these are the characteristics of Darrius rotor. First one is not self-starting. So I discussed the point just now. Because it is not a self-starting, we can combine this with the auxiliary rotor types which are self-starting. So if you combine this with the other types, it can get self-starting. Second one is it is having high speed because it works at high velocity wind operations. It is having high speeds and it is also having high efficiencies. And potentially these will be low capital cost. These are the characteristics of Darrius rotor. Next we will see one figure. See, this is the Darrius rotor principle. So if you show or if you see as shown in the figure here, we see that force that propels the blades of the conventional windmill comes from the cord of the airfoil. Okay, so the force that is propelling the blades of the conventional windmill, this is coming from the cord of the airfoil only. It is being tilted away from the direction of motion. Okay, so it is being tilted away from the direction of motions. See, so that if it is getting tilted away from the direction of motions, the thrust that is almost at right angles to the airfoil, it is tilted towards the forward direction and it is having a component in that direction, forward direction only. So it is called as this forward direction and it is called as forward thrust. Okay, so the thrust is always at right angles. So the remarkable thing about the Darrius rotor is that it can not have the advantage of this tilt of the airfoil. Okay, so it is not having but works without it. Tilting is not there, but actually it works with it. So this with the cord will be directly along the tangent to the circular path of the equatorial cross section. Okay, the cord will be along the tangential here, tangential like this, tangential to the circular path. In the equatorial cross sections, three types of cross sections. So if this cord is tilted away from the tangent, so as that tilt the thrust forward, the wind meets the airfoil on the wind side of the circle as indicated by the broken lines of the figure. See, like this. This is like this, and for this, this one, and for this, this one. So they will be all meeting on the other side of the airfoil. And the thrust will be filtered backward to the retard of the motion. So the thrust will be here backward. Okay, so if it is tangential, it is well and good. If it is out of the tangential, they will be meeting at the axis of rotation here, and this will be backward to the retard of the motion. So this concept of Darrier's rotor principle is based by the principle of Bermuda rigid sailing ships. These can be sailing across the wind at speeds greater than of the wind. Okay, so this principle is based on the Bermuda rigid sailing ship. Bermuda rigid. Okay, so based on the principle, this Darrier's rotor principle is also dependent. So these are sailing at these are rotating at more than the wind speeds. So they will be high velocity winds, we know. So these will be more than the wind speeds. So the lift causing here, it is causing a turning action more than the drag forces that implied it, as long as the TSR is high enough to prevent the blades for stalling. Okay, so this lift action will be preventing from stalling. This concept, it is patented by Frenchman Darrius. This is the concept that is patent. He got patent for this principle. He is also a Frenchman, Darrius. So this this we have discussed before only. He is a Frenchman. It is patented by 1925. In the year 1925, this principle. So this is the principle that he got patent. So although we are having more Darrier's wind turbines which cannot self-start under steady wind conditions, they do rotate slowly due to the drag difference between the rounded lead edges and the sharp trailing edges of the airfoils. Okay, so we know that these are not self-starting, but these will be rotating slowly. So this slow rotation is occurring because of the differences between the round leading edges and sharp tailing edges of the airfoils. Okay, so one or two occasions there is a possibility of the condition that the machine reaches the runway speed with no load, and accidentally these will be destroying themselves. Okay, at no loads, if it rotates with more speeds, it will be get destroyed, because at starting there will be no load. So if you are attempted to make it a high speed machine, they will be getting damaged. There are also some types of high TSR horizontal axis turbines whose aerodynamic inhibit self-starting. So this required either pitch changing or electrical motive power to run them to the speeds where the blade is unstalled. Okay, and this Darrier's turbine, it is usually shaped like a egg beater in profiles. So these blades are curved in a form which minimizes the bending stresses. Okay, so this egg beaten shape is due to the main advantage to decrease the bending stresses. So in a horizontal axis machines, if you take a long straight blades, these have a bending stress. So if you take like this egg beater shape, this will be reducing the bending stresses caused by the centrifugal force. So this is called as Troposkian profile. Okay, so this egg beaten shape taking of egg beaten shape, it is called as tropospherian profiles. We will see next the advantage